Everything begins in the mind. Before the action, before the applause, before the recognition, there is the unseen, the vision. You see, too many people are walking through life like passengers on a train with no destination. They're moving, yes, but not with purpose. They're living, but not alive to where they're going. Let me tell you a story. When I was a young man, I sat in my mother's beauty salon. And one day this woman walks in, an old woman, hair gray like wisdom, eyes burning like prophecy. And she looked straight at me. She didn't know me, but she said something that stopped time. She said, "Young man, you're going to travel the world and speak to millions." I laughed. What, me? At that time, I had no money, no clarity, no plan, just a few auditions and a whole lot of self-doubt. But those words planted a seed, a vision. And once that seed is planted, if you water it, if you feed it with belief, with work, with faith, it begins to grow. Success, real success, always starts as a seed. Maybe your seed is a business you've dreamed of building. Maybe it's a healthier body, a healed relationship, a book inside you waiting to be written, but the seed alone isn't enough. A seed hidden in the drawer never becomes a tree. You've got to plant it, speak it, write it down, see it before anyone else can, and then live like it's already yours. When I say vision, I'm not talking about fantasy. I'm talking about a picture in your mind that burns so clearly, so vividly, that you can smell it, touch it, taste it. You can see yourself walking in that new life, not because it's real yet, but because you know it will be. You don't need other people to see it. You just need the courage to believe it when no one else does. You want to know why some people never grow? Why they stay stuck in the same cycle year after year? It's because they never planted a vision strong enough to pull them forward. They're waiting on conditions, waiting for the money, the job, the perfect time. But vision doesn't wait. Vision leads. It pulls you through pain, through confusion, through disappointment. Because vision, real vision, will outlast motivation. You have to close your eyes and see it before you can open your eyes and build it. Every skyscraper you've ever seen started in the mind of a person who was bold enough to believe in the invisible. They sketched it, planned it, obsessed over it, and then laid one brick at a time. So before we talk about action, about habits, about discipline, we need to talk about that picture in your mind. What does your 6-month future look like? If everything went right, if you gave your all, showed up every day, locked in, what would your life look like? Because until you see it, you'll never seize it. And don't let the size of the dream scare you. If the vision doesn't stretch you, it won't change you. You've got to dream a vision that makes you nervous, one that keeps you humble, keeps you praying, keeps you grinding. Because vision is not about ego, it's about purpose. And when you align your vision with something deeper than yourself, your family, your legacy, your impact, that's when the fire really starts to burn. So tonight, I'm not asking if you have a goal. I'm asking if you have a vision, something that lights you up, that haunts you in the best way, that whispers to you in the quiet moments and roars at you when you try to settle for less. Whatever that vision is, hold it, guard it, and begin to live like it's already on its way, because the seed of success is already in you. All you have to do is plant it. We live in a world that celebrates the end result, but rarely honors the process. We clap when someone wins the award, signs the deal, lands the role. But what we don't see are the late nights, the early mornings, the moments when they wanted to quit. We don't see the months, sometimes years, of silent struggle and steady building. That's where the real work happens. That's where the story is written. Success doesn't arrive like lightning. It unfolds like sunrise. Gradual, persistent, inevitable. And too often people miss that truth. They set a huge goal, and when it doesn't come fast, they give up. They forget that every skyscraper is built one floor at a time. You don't leap from the ground to the rooftop. You climb step by step. That's the power of the monthly milestone. Imagine this. Instead of saying, I'm going to change my life this year, you say, this month, I'm going to win one battle, 1 month, one mission, one win. You break it down, you focus your fire, and you execute, not with frenzy, but with focus. That's how movements are built. That's how legacies are written. Maybe this month is about discipline. Maybe it's about healing. Maybe it's about building that side business you've been talking about for years. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be clear. Because clarity is what moves you forward. Confusion stalls. Clarity activates. And here's the beautiful part. When you win 1 month, you build something far more important than momentum. You build belief. You prove to yourself that you can follow through. You create a rhythm, a track record. You begin to trust your own word again, and that is powerful. Now think about what happens when you stack those wins. 1 strong month becomes 2, 2 becomes 4. By month 6, you don't just have goals, you have transformation. And not the kind of transformation that fades when the hype wears off. I'm talking about real internal change, built from consistency, built from grind, built from showing up, even on the days you didn't feel like it. I know what some people are thinking, but what if I mess up 1 month? What if I fall behind? Let me tell you, this isn't about perfection. This is about persistence. The monthly milestone isn't a prison, it's a path. If you fall, you get up, you adjust, you recalibrate, and then you keep moving forward. Because success doesn't belong to the flawless. It belongs to the faithful, the ones who refuse to quit. I remember when I was building my career, I didn't wake up with fame. I didn't leap into movie stardom overnight. No, there were auditions that didn't call back, scripts that didn't land, rejections that cut deep. But I had a rule. Every month I had to grow. A new skill, a new connection, a deeper level of focus, and month by month, the roles started to come. The voice sharpened. The path became clearer, not because of luck, but because I refused to stop moving. Success is a mountain, but you don't need to conquer it in one day. You conquer it by showing up, by carving your name into it 1 month at a time. And that climb, it changes you. Not just what you achieve, but who you become in the process. So don't be overwhelmed by the size of your dream. Don't be paralyzed by how far you have to go. Just ask yourself, what can I do in this month? What step can I take now that brings me closer to who I'm becoming? Because success doesn't come all at once. It comes 1 win at a time, 1 month at a time, 1 step, 1 choice, 1 faithful act of commitment again and again. Before you can go anywhere in life, before you can climb, before you can rise, before you can run, you have to look in the mirror. Not the mirror that shows your reflection, but the mirror that shows your truth. Because no plan, no strategy, no vision will ever last if it's built on pretending. You've got to know who you are before you can become who you're meant to be. We live in a time where people are obsessed with projecting images on social media, in public, even in conversations. But growth doesn't happen in image. Growth happens in introspection. It happens when you strip away the performance and get real with yourself. Let me tell you, there were moments early in my journey when I had to do that kind of deep, uncomfortable looking. I had to ask, what am I really chasing? What do I believe about myself when no one's clapping? What are my blind spots? What are the parts of me I need to grow, not hide? You want to grow? Then get honest. You can't lie to the mirror and expect the map to take you anywhere meaningful. That mirror shows you where you are, but it also holds the key to who you can become if you're willing to face it. Now, once you've looked in that mirror, you need something else. You need a map, a plan, not just a wish, not just an idea that floats around in your head when you're inspired. A real map, something that takes your vision and turns it into strategy. See, dreams are beautiful, but without direction, they become burdens. They become ghosts that haunt you because you know what's possible, but you don't know how to reach it. That's why the map matters. You need to break the dream down into steps and then break those steps down into days. What does growth look like this month? What actions move you forward? What does success look like on paper? And I'm not just talking about goals. I'm talking about alignment. Your calendar should reflect your convictions. Your actions should mirror your ambition. If someone looked at how you spent your time, would they be able to tell what you're becoming? But here's the thing. No map will help you if you don't first anchor it in self-awareness. You've got to know how you work, when you thrive, what drains you, what triggers you to give up. You've got to study yourself like a blueprint, because personal growth is not one size fits all. What works for someone else might not work for you, and that's okay. Your map should fit your terrain, and you've got to revisit the map. Too many people make a plan and never adjust it, but life shifts, circumstances change, you evolve, your plan has to evolve with you. Every month, you check the mirror. Every month, you update the map. That's how you stay aligned. That's how you avoid drifting. This is the quiet work of growth, the work no one sees. The hours spent journaling, reflecting, recalibrating. The honest conversations with yourself. The discipline of saying, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I know where I am and I know where I'm going. That's the power of self-awareness. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. And when you pair that with a clear, flexible plan, something powerful happens. You stop reacting to life and you start leading it. You stop stumbling forward and start moving with intention. You stop running from yourself and start running towards something. Because at the end of the day, growth isn't magic. It's a mirror and a map. One shows you who you are. The other shows you what to do with it. BS on. Yes. Turn on. Let's not sugarcoat it. There will be storms. Not maybe. Not if. There will be storms. You will face moments that shake your confidence, days when the plan falls apart, times when your best effort feels like it wasn't enough. And when those moments come, when the sky turns dark and the winds start to howl, you need to remember this. The storm is not here to stop you. The storm is here to shape you. We grow not just in peace, but in pressure. Not just in comfort, but in chaos. The setbacks, the ones you try to pray away, cry through, or hide from, those are the very things that forge your resilience. That's where the story takes on meaning. I've stumbled. I've failed. I've had auditions where I walked out feeling like I had nothing left to give and still didn't get the part. I've had days where I asked myself, am I really cut out for this? But here's what I learned. Every stumble taught me something that a success never could. Every door that closed redirected me to a better one I hadn't seen yet. Every rejection was a redirection. You've got to stop seeing failure as final. Failure is feedback. Failure is a classroom. It teaches you what to adjust, how to pivot, who you are when things get tough. And that's what matters. Because anybody can be motivated when things are going right. But your character is built when the lights are off, when no one's watching, when everything in you says quit, and you keep going anyway. And I'm not talking about fake toughness. I'm not talking about pretending you're okay when you're not. I'm talking about endurance, about allowing the pain to teach you without letting it define you, about giving yourself permission to fall, but not permission to stay down. You see, the storm does two things. It either weakens your foundation or reveals its strength. That's why the setbacks matter. That's why the stumbles are sacred, because they show you what's real in you. They force you to decide if you're committed or just curious. And if you lean into them, they'll refine you. They'll strip away the distractions. They'll carve out the version of you that's meant to carry the vision. We often ask for growth, but we don't always like the conditions growth requires. Growth needs discomfort. Growth needs friction. Just like a diamond is formed under pressure, your next level will be forged in the moments you want to give up. But don't. And listen, you're not alone in this storm. Everybody who's ever built something meaningful has faced moments of collapse. What separates them isn't that they didn't fall, it's that they got back up and they brought the lesson with. So when that hard month comes, when you feel like the plan isn't working, when the milestone feels too far away, don't abandon the journey. Don't let a rough chapter convince you it's the end of the story. This is just the middle. The storm isn't proof that you're failing. It's confirmation that you're moving. Because anything worth building will test you before it blesses you. So when you stumble, and you will, stumble forward. Learn something, get stronger, get wiser, and then take the next step. One shaky, courageous, beautiful step forward. You can have the right dream, the right plan, the right grind, but if you've got the wrong people in your corner, your vision will suffer. Your environment is not neutral. It either nourishes your growth or it chokes it. It waters your seed or it drains your roots. Look around. Who are you walking with? Who's speaking into your life? Who do you share your goals with, your ideas, your fears? Are they lifting you or limiting you? When I was just starting out, I didn't need a crowd. I needed clarity. And that clarity came not just from within, but from the voices around me. People who didn't just nod and smile when I told them my dream. People who challenged me, who asked me hard questions, who reminded me that greatness wasn't just about talent, it was about alignment. Not everyone in your life is meant to go where you're going, and that's a hard truth. But growth requires you to differentiate between people who are comfortable with your potential and those who are committed to your progress. Some folks love you just the way you are, not because they see your greatness, but because your current version makes them feel safe. But you weren't built to stay small just to make others comfortable. You are built to rise. And for that, you need people who can handle the weight of your wings. You ever try to grow around people who only talk about problems, never about possibilities? People who mock ambition, who laugh at discipline, who make excuses their anthem, that kind of energy will poison your purpose. It'll slow you down without you even realizing it. You go outside and be who you really are. Your circle should be made of visionaries, not spectators, builders, not critics. People who can see beyond where you are and speak to where you're going. People who can sit with you in your struggle and still remind you who you are. People who pray for you, push you, and walk beside you. Not because it's easy, but because they believe in what you're becoming. And it's not just about support, it's about standards. The right circle doesn't just celebrate your wins, they hold you accountable when you start slipping. They don't let you talk yourself out of your calling. They don't watch you self-sabotage and say nothing. They challenge you with love, not ego. And that challenge is a gift, not a threat. There's a difference between company and community. Company fills the space, community fills your spirit. And sometimes, in order to step into your next level, you've got to edit the room. That doesn't mean you cut people off in anger or pride. It means you protect your purpose with wisdom. Because hear me, your dream is a seed. And every conversation, every relationship, every influence, it's either water or it's weed killer. It's either helping that seed take root or it's stealing the sunlight it needs to grow. I've seen it again and again. People with massive potential, brilliant minds, gifted hands, but stuck in the same cycle because they were surrounded by small thinking. Their wings clipped by the very people they trusted. And they wondered why the breakthrough never came. If you want to go far, choose your circle with intention. Find those who make excellence their default, who treat growth like oxygen, who dream out loud and do the work. And if you can't find that circle, be that circle. Show up with integrity, share knowledge, uplift others, because your energy attracts your tribe. Success is never solo. Destiny is never designed in isolation. We are sharpened in connection, in accountability, in relationship. So if you're serious about rising, if you're serious about your 6-month transformation, take a good look around and ask, are the people in my life watering my growth or just watching me wilt? Because your future is too important to let the wrong voices guide your steps. Choose wisely. Let me tell you something real. Success isn't loud. It doesn't shout in your face. It doesn't arrive with fireworks or applause. Success is quiet. It shows up when you show up. It's built in the silence of routine, in the repetition of doing the work when nobody's watching. That's why consistency is more powerful than intensity. Anybody can burn bright for a day, but can you stay lit when the fire doesn't feel fun anymore? There's a rhythm to greatness. It's not rushed. It's not sporadic. It moves with a beat. A daily cadence, a weekly discipline, a monthly commitment. And if you want real, lasting transformation in your life, you've got to tap into that rhythm. You can't grow in chaos. You can't rise when everything around you is inconsistent, including you. That's why this journey, this 6-month climb, is not about sprinting. It's about building the muscle of showing up. 1 month at a time, one habit at a time. You train yourself to keep promises to your future self. Because discipline isn't punishment. Discipline is a declaration. It's you saying, I am serious about where I'm going. You want to know what builds confidence? Not compliments, not motivation, consistency. When you wake up and do what you said you would do again and again, even on the hard days, that builds something in your spirit that can't be shaken. That's the quiet confidence that says, I trust me. And listen, you don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to master the month you're in. Each month, choose your focus. Maybe this month, it's getting up 1 hour earlier. Maybe it's writing 10 pages a week. Maybe it's limiting distractions. Whatever it is, make it specific, make it measurable, and commit to it fully. Not halfway, not when it's convenient, fully. You've got to train your body and your mind to obey your purpose. Not your feelings, not your fears, your purpose. Because there will be days when you don't feel like it. Days when the excitement wears off. Days when the results don't show up right away. That's where the rhythm matters. That's where the discipline kicks in. And you're not doing this to impress anyone. You're doing it because you know your future depends on the choices you make today. That's the thing about discipline. It's invisible at first. It doesn't show up with instant results. But over time, it reshapes your life. It rewires your mindset. It builds structure around your dream so it can actually stand. I've seen too many people fall in love with the outcome but never marry the process. They want the stage, but not the rehearsal. They want the spotlight, but not the solitude. They want the transformation, but not the routine. And it doesn't work that way. You don't get to greatness without showing up for it daily. Consistency is what separates those who try from those who become. It's the difference between talking about it and building it. Because when you make discipline your rhythm, you stop needing motivation to move. You move because movement is who you are now. So as you step into this month, this chapter of your journey, don't look for a miracle. Build a rhythm. Show up with intention. Do the work. Keep the promise. And trust that every small step, every repeated effort, every quiet, disciplined act, it's all adding up. It always does. At some point in your journey, you start to realize this isn't just about you. It never was. The discipline, the growth, the grind, the breakthrough is not only for your benefit, it's for the people watching you, the ones learning from you, the ones you may never even meet, but whose lives will be changed because you had the courage to grow. Real success is not measured in what you accumulate. It's measured in what you give. It's in the legacy you leave behind, not just in bank accounts or awards, but in impact, in lives touched, inspired, and elevated by your presence. You don't just grow to shine, you grow to light the way. I remember early in my career, I was chasing roles, chasing respect, chasing visibility. And then somewhere along the way, the question shifted. It went from what can I get to what can I give? It went from how do I win to who gets to win because I didn't give up. That shift, that is the legacy move. Because success that ends with you is incomplete. But success that multiplies through mentoring, through teaching, through giving back, that's where purpose is born. Your journey, your story, your lessons, the ones born in pain, in pressure, in persistence, they are not just for your private collection. They are for somebody else's survival. There's someone right now praying for the wisdom you've earned, praying for the clarity you fought for, praying for the breakthrough you bled for. And when you live with legacy in mind, you stop hoarding what you've learned and start pouring it out. Maybe you're not a teacher by profession, but you can still teach by example. Maybe you don't have a platform, but your presence is the platform. The way you carry yourself, the way you show up, the way you rise after the fall, that becomes somebody's blueprint. And let's be clear, this kind of giving isn't always public. Legacy isn't always loud. Sometimes it's found in the quiet moment where you choose to forgive instead of retaliate, where you speak life over someone who's used to hearing criticism, where you tell your child or your student or your colleague, I see greatness in you and mean it. And growth becomes legacy when it leaves the room better than it found it. When your excellence challenges others to level up. When your resilience gives people permission to hold on. When your life becomes a mirror for someone else to recognize their own strength. And don't ever think you have to be perfect to make an impact. People aren't moved by perfection. They're moved by authenticity, by your willingness to be honest about the climb, to say, I struggled here, but I made it through, and so can you. That's what makes the journey sacred. That's what makes the 6 months of growth more than a personal transformation. It becomes a collective blessing. Because when one person rises, it lifts the atmosphere around them. It expands the possibilities for others. You become the proof that it's possible. So as you continue to build, to strive, to evolve, remember, it's bigger than you. Always has been. Let your growth be your gift. Let your wins make room for others. Let your life speak even when you're no longer in the room. Because at the end of it all, people won't remember every goal you hit or every accolade you earned, but they will remember how you made them feel, how you helped them believe, how your journey made theirs a little more possible. That is legacy. Now you've heard the vision, you've seen the steps, you understand the rhythm, you know the cost. 6 months, 6 chapters, 6 opportunities to build something that lasts, not just on paper, but in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you live. This isn't just about reaching a goal. This is about becoming the person who no longer needs permission to grow. The person who no longer waits for the right time because they are the time. Yes, there will be days when you doubt, days when your faith is low and your energy is lower. But if you can keep going, one day, one decision, one disciplined month at a time, you will wake up in a future you once only imagined. You'll look back and realize it wasn't one big move that changed your life. It was a series of quiet, committed choices stacked with intention. And here's the most beautiful part. Your growth will not stop with you. Your courage will echo. Your transformation will make a way for someone else. Your success, if you build it with purpose, will turn into a seed that keeps on giving. So let me leave you with this. Don't wait for the world to hand you greatness. Build it. Don't wait for the stars to align. Start where you are. Don't wait for perfect. Commit to progress. This is your time, your mountain, your 6 months. Make every one of them count. Thank you.